Ayan, no? While we're waiting for people to enter, syempre mag-check-in muna tayo. So, it's the second half of 2023. Napakabilis talaga ng panahon, ano? How have you been, Bestie?
Ayan, thank you so much for asking, Bestie. I agree. Sobrang bilis ng taon na to. Pero sobrang dami din naman ng mga naganap. For me, personally, a lot of growth took place. And I am so excited to continue to learn about myself and unlock more of my strengths. And I'm sure naman kayo rin madami-dami nangyari sa inyo this year. And as we enter the second half of the year, I hope that we can use these remaining months to pause for a moment and reflect on our highs and lows. Ayan. Kayo naman, our dear learners, how have you been during the first half of the year? Kindly do type in the chat naman po. Yan. How have you been during this last 6 months?
Ayan, we have Ari. Sabi niya, medyo busy sa work, pero go, go, go pa din. Wow, we love the energy. Fighting pa rin. Yan.
Yes, thank you, Mo. Parang familiar si Mo. Parang nag-a-attend siya palagi, no? Ayun. Sabi naman ni Annie, she experienced a lot of first times in ACADS.
Good afternoon po. Ako po, been here since day 1 po si Mo. Ayan. I think marami rin sa atin na nagsulat ng ating New Year's resolutions when the year started. And if consistent nyong nagawa ang mga promises nyo, do give yourselves a pat on the back for the hard work you have done. And for those na mga goals na hindi pa natupad or you're still trying to, you also deserve to pat yourselves on the back because you still tried.
Yes, and we're here to remind you guys that taking a break is necessary and taking time to take care of yourselves is also a must.
Ayan. So, thank you po sa mga nag-share ng experiences nila sa amin. We hope that you can all have a wonderful time for the rest of 2023. And it seems na we already have a lot of learners in this room. We have 165 participants. And you can still invite your friends to join us here sa Zoom room. But if they can't, no worries because we're streaming this session on YouTube.
Ayan, before we get started, we just want to ask po, since meron po tayong loyal since day 1, do we have any first-time attendees here with us? Press 1 naman po if this is your first time attending a positive workplace webinar. Ayan, ay ang dami. Yes, good afternoon everyone. And it seems na padami tayo ng padami each session. And we would like to thank everyone for being here with us today.
For our first-time learners, welcome, welcome, welcome to Positive Workplaces. We hope that you have a great time with us. And of course, for our loyal besties, thank you for always showing up and choosing to spend your Wednesday afternoons with us.
Yes, and for those
Welcome to Positive
yeah.
And you have a great time.
And for those who were with us last week, may challenge pong binigay si Sir Dax sa ating lahat. Do you guys still remember kung ano yon? Sa mga nag-attend po last week, na-challenge po tayo ni Sir Dax.
Secret? Ay, secret pala.
Secret, no clue. Naalala nyo ba? Parang hindi nyo naalala. It's okay. I'll just remind you guys. He challenged us to practice the 3 different psychological distancing techniques. Ikaw ba, bestie ko, may na-try ka bang technique this week or last week?
Actually, nabanggit ko na to last time, but I use pronoun shifting as a way of reminding myself of my good qualities as well as, let's say, hyping myself up. Yung tipong, huy Mira, easy ka lang, okay? Gawin mo muna to bago iyan. Ganyan. So, kayo namang mga besties namin, may mga na-try ba kayo sa tatlong psychological distancing techniques na na-discuss last time? Kindly type in the chat if meron po. Matitest ang ating learners ha.
Oo nga. May mga nag-notes ba dyan last week?
Baka kailangan nila ng reminders ano ang tatlong distancing technique. Sige Kat, sampulan mo kami.
So yun, as shared kanina by Mira, we have pronoun shifting. So ito yung idea na nire-refer po natin yung sarili natin sa third person. So kunyari nga, sabi ni Mira, for her, when she experiences mga tough times, sinasabi niya, Mira, kaya mo yan. Ayan. And then we have the Batman effect naman. So this is, ayan, sabi ni Jay.
Ayan, may nagsabi.
Effect. Yes. Ayan. Thank you.
May nag-notes pala. May nag-notes.
Yes. Thank you so much, Jane. Ayan. And as we shared kanina sa ating check-in, it is important to take breaks and pauses from time to time to allow ourselves to really reflect on our progress, on our goals, and whatnot. And in line with today's topic, we're going to learn how to build habits and practices for our well-being. Ayan, Mira, would you like to introduce the final part of the webinar series?
Ayan, sure naman, bestie. So for our third and final part of the July webinar series, we're learning about the purposeful pause and how we can build mindful habits for well-being. For sure, excited na ang ating learners. But before we start off the learning session, syempre po, magpapakilala po muna kami.
So good afternoon, everyone. We're your Gen Z besties na may chikang mainit every minute. I am Kat, and here with me is
Mira. And we're your training and development interns from Positive Workplaces. And in Positive Workplaces, we believe that we can co-create cultures that will enhance the well-being of the Filipino workforce. And we believe we can do that by spreading the positivity ripples.
So ano nga ba yung positivity ripples na yan? So here in Positive Workplaces, we believe that it all starts with you. Kaya po we are very thankful that you guys are taking the time to invest in yourselves. So as we said, everything starts with leading the self. This is where you guys enable yourselves to further foster your skills by attending webinars and learning concepts such as positive communication, organizational development, and the like. Kasi when we are able to lead others, that is when we are able to lead ourselves, that is when we are able to lead others. Ayan. So for example po, for our loyal PW webinar attendees, after you guys learn these concepts, you can share your insights with your peers and respective organizations. And from those insights, it naturally influences cultures, and that is when the positive culture is cultivated. And ayan, I'll now pass it back to Mira for today's reminders.
Ayan, for our reminders, especially for our first-timers here in the room, have another device on hand or be ready to go to another link since we will be using Pigeonhole later in this session. Ayan, sa mga mahihilig magsulat at mag-type ng kanilang mga notes, prepare your pen and paper or your note-taking apps. And lastly, we love it when you guys engage with us all throughout the session. However, while we encourage audience engagement, let us keep the chat box a safe space for everyone. So let us be respectful when interacting with each other. And most importantly, for our evaluation forms, it will only be issued at the end of the webinar. So please do stay until the end of the session. And it will only be available for those in the Zoom room. Ayan, tandaan po natin ang acronym 10 sa pagsagot ng ating evaluation forms. T for title, i-double check po natin that when you click on the link, ang form na mabubuksan ay nakapangalang The Purposeful Pause, Building Mindful Habits for Wellbeing. And E for email, make sure po natin na tama yung email na i-input, so check for any errors before submitting. And lastly, N for name, type in your name or live name na gusto niyo pong makita sa inyong certificates. Again, i-double check po natin yung spelling because we will not be reissuing certificates since automatically generated po ang ating e-certificates. And for any concerns about evaluations and certificates, you may email us at engage@positiveworkplaces.org. We will only be entertaining inquiries regarding evaluations and certificates up to 1 week after the event. So after this webinar, you only have 1 week to follow up on the forms.
Ayan. Thank you so much, Mira. We are now at the final part of the July webinar series. And just to recap, for this month's theme, we talked about harnessing the power of attention, unlocking peak performance in the workplace. And for the whole month, we were joined by Sir Dax Covarrubias of Fearless Inc. And for today, for the third part of the series, we have the Purposeful Pause, building mindful habits for well-being. Ayan, Mira, would you like to share our learning roadmap for today?
Yes, so for today, we are going to be learning about the why. Is it critical to start a mindfulness habit? What is pausing with purpose? And how can we design a personal pause to train our attention? Ayan, our learners, are you ready to build mindful habits? If excited na po kayo, please type in yes sa chat.
Ayan, mukhang handang-handa na talaga ang ating learners. So wag na tayo magpatumpik-tumpik pa. Everyone, let's give Sir Dax a warm virtual welcome. Good afternoon, Sir Dax.
Good afternoon, Kat. Hello, Mira. Nice to see you again and nice to see all our learners. So nice to see people who are back and especially those who have been with us since day one pala. And for those join us for the first time, welcome to the session. And the way we always say this, learners, the way we design it is best talaga na if you get to see all three, but it's all naman, it's independent of each other. So even if you miss sessions 1 and 2, you can still catch up here, session 3. And for the rest also, meron tayong mga questions last week and 2 weeks ago na parang, how do we train our brain for attention? Then that is what we will be talking about today. So let me now start my screen. Okay. All right. So welcome to the Purposeful Pause, Building Mindful Habits. So I will be with you for the next hour. And mind you, this hour will go by very fast, learners. So I can introduce myself again. My name is Dax Covarrubias of Fearless Inc. I specialize in mindfulness, mindful leadership, and emotional intelligence. And in Fearless, our purpose is to spark innovation and humanity into what we do. And part of the programs that we do to spark innovation and humanity is the power of attention. Now, this being the third party, for week 1, ginawa natin yung win back your focus. So we talked about yung mindfulness-based attention training, and we taught you 3 mindfulness-based attention training techniques, yung STOP method, just like me, tsaka impact sa intention. Last week, when we talked about naman yung if you get disconnected with people, so how do you manage the mental noise in your head? Kaya meron tayong psychological distancing of Batman effect, pronoun shifting, at saka temporal distancing. So I saw some people who were able to practice that from last week. So today, last part is, okay, so how do we train our brain? Kasi let's put this in a context of sports team. Let's put it in basketball, di ba? So if you look at it, ano yung mga techniques natin last week? Yung mga pronoun shifting or yung mga stop method, just like me, those are like yung what you do game time. Those are like the techniques you do when you feel the stress or the distraction coming up. But if you notice, diba, what trains athletes during game time is training. Diba? What they do during training, yung parang downtime nila, ito yung mga skills nila, ito yung coaching sessions, ito yung mga drills nila, para they know when they go into game time, what shots will they use? So ito, if you look at it in that way, team, yung ginawa natin 2 weeks ago at saka last week, those are the tools and techniques. Yung gagawin natin today is, what do you do during your downtime so that when the stressors come in, you can now access your toolbox, which is the purposeful pause. So what are our objectives for this next hour? So we're going to first regain our attention by reframing stress. Afterwards, let's train our attention with a purposeful pause so that you will develop a superpower called SBNRR. Okay, So let's look at this first team. Now, why does our attention break down? And I'll show you a simple graph here, team, on why attention breaks down. So this is the challenge skill ratio, learners, by Dr. Daniel Goleman. Si Daniel Goleman is a science author who made the term emotional intelligence mainstream. Now, in this graph, he talked about bakit ba tayo para nasa stress out or bakit ba tayo nadidistract? So it's in the simple graph. On the vertical axis is skill. On the topmost, you are the expert. On the bottommost, you do not have the skills yet. And on the horizontal axis is challenge. On the leftmost is very easy. On the rightmost is very challenging. Okay, sige learners, make a guess. Saan ang stress dyan? Saan tayo para medyo nangangarag or saan tayo medyo na-overwhelmed? Which part of the graph? Please type on chat. Saan yun, based on that graph, saan tayo nasa-stress? Okay, ano? So challenge, okay? Sige. Okay, anyone? Ano? It's okay? Yes, okay, perfect. I see it. Thank you, Angelica, and maraming sumagot din. Like her. So thank you, Angelica. It is when the challenge is high, learners, and we do not have the skills yet to meet the challenge. Ayan. That now brings us to what we talked about in session 1. Our attention is hijacked. And ano itsura ng pag-hijack ang attention natin? It is wherein our emotions take over and dictate what we do. Or in Tagalog, team, di ba? This is what you call yung naninilim ang paningin. You know that? Yung galit na galit ka na. So sobrang galit mo, hindi ka na nag-iisip. So that is what you call hijack attention. Challenge is high, skills are low. But meron din team, meron din part wherein our attention naman is also we become distracted. Ito yung team. When the skill is high and it's no longer challenging. What do you think this is called, team? Learners, when skill is high and it's no longer challenging, make a guess on chat box. Yes, perfect, Rina. Okay, so it is boredom. Boredom siya, or in the context of mindfulness, we call this autopilot. Di ba? Autopilot, you are not aware of what is going on in your surroundings. So tuloy madali tayo na-distract because we are just in autopilot mode. So if you look at the team, yung hijack attention was lesson week 1, autopilot was week 2. So ngayon, how do we train our brain so that when we have moments of hijack or autopilot, what can we do to catch ourselves? That is why we are here now to pause. Then let's look at first at the hijack part, team. The full name kasi of a hijack is what we call, ang clinical term team is called the amygdala hijack. Now, what is the amygdala? The amygdala, learners, is the part of our brain sa gitna that lights up when we are stressed. Okay, when the challenge is high and we don't have the skills. And when we are stressed, we release an adrenaline called cortisol. Now, mind you, learners, cortisol is not a bad adrenaline. Cortisol is an adrenaline that allows us to survive in times of danger. So hypothetically, sample, let's say kunyari may sunog sa bahay, di ba? So syempre naka-stress yun. So we release cortisol so that our energy goes to our arms and our legs para we can survive, para we can rescue people, and so that we can also rescue things. So if you notice, team, baka narinig nyo itong mga kwento na may nasusunog ang bahay, tapos may lola, nakarga niya isang ref from the kitchen palabas ang bahay, and parang nagawa ni lola yon because of cortisol, because cortisol is a superpower in times of danger. However, learners, if you look at it, because of our daily stressors, we are releasing cortisol in our bloodstream every day. And how do you know? Pag merong cortisol, team, how is your body reacting when you are stressed? Sige, pa-type naman dyan sa chat. When you are stressed, how do you know that your body is reacting? For example, ako, pag nasa-stress ako, bumibilis ang heart rate ko. Okay, yan. Okay, lack of appetite. Thank you. Fight or flight. Okay, masakit ang balikat. Ano pa, team? Perfect. So it's either napapakain tayo, hindi tayo napapakain, kaka-heartburn. So team, all of these are signs na your body is releasing cortisol. So body pains, gas pains in our belly, and also headache. And too much cortisol in our bloodstream, team, ito nangyayari sa ating artery sa puso. Kumakapal siya. Sige, let's look at this, learners. What do you hear about people na makapal ang arteries? Ano yung mga sakit nun? Ano yung mga sakit ng mga tao na makapal ang arteries? Please type on chat. Ano yung possible? Yes, chest tightness. Ano pa? Meron pang worse, team. Christian, ano pa yung mga worse, team? Pag makapal ang yes. Stroke, cardiac arrest, yes. High blood pressure, hypertension. For some people, diabetes. So a lot of illnesses are associated with thick arteries because of cortisol. And this is where you think, baka narinig nyo ito, team. You've heard of these young professionals in Japan, 30 years old, pero they just die of heart attack. They die of overwork. Ito yun. Why do people in Japan die of overwork? Because too much cortisol in their bloodstream, wala na po poison na sila, kaya nagka-cardiac arrest sila. So ang ganda niyan, team. So thank you for putting in your answers on how you look like when you are getting hijacked, because we're going to use those signals later on to practice our superpower of SBNRR. Okay, so thank you. Now, but team, also, meron ding myth about stress. Sige, unahan uli. Team, what is the myth about stress? Please make a guess. What is the myth about stress? Pa-type naman dyan sa chat. Okay, bilis. Okay. See, can I hear Berlino? Hi, Berlino. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, Berlino, what made... Okay, so una-una, congratulations, Berlino. You got the correct answer. Bilis, okay. What made you say na stress is bad is a myth?
Yeah, because sometimes I heard people saying that it is bad, but actually stress is good, and it is always felt by everybody, and it's just normal, natural.
Yeah, and ikaw Berlino, meron ba sa'yo parang good stress? Is there a type of stress that you consider good stress?
Yes, when you're in love.
Oh, okay. Tama naman. Yes, kasi exciting yun, di ba, Berlina? Tama. So that is great stress. Thank you. Thank you, Berlina. Okay, so we'll talk about that, team. And thank you, Berlina, for the first answer. Tama si Berlina. The myth about stress, team, is stress is... Okay, meron tayong star student here, Angelica. Hi, Angelica. Good afternoon. Angelica Garcia. Are you there? Unmute naman si Angelica Garcia, please.
Hi, Sir Dak. Good afternoon.
Ayun. Sige, Angelica, how did you come across this term na eustress? Tell us more.
Actually, sir, this one, eustress, we actually discussed it in school, where eustress is the form of positive stress, which is good for us. And we also have here, as mentioned in the chat, this stress. This is the kind of stress that can be considered as bad for us.
Yes. Wow. Which school are you from, Angelica? Ay, pa-unmute ulit si Angelica. Angelica, which school are you from?
Graduated po, sir, from UST.
Oh, galing. So, and then they teach this, ha? Okay, perfect. So, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so tama. So, guess what, Angelica? Parang binasa mo ang aking slides kasi yan ang susunod natin. Okay, so team, mukhang nabasa. So, ang galing. So, medyo advanced ang ating learners. So, this is a great, for those hearing this for the first time, something new. For those who know about this is a great validation for you. So, yan, okay. UST represent pala dito. Okay, madaming golden tigers, ha? Okay, all right. Sige, green archer ako sorry. Okay, let's get started, team. Okay, so yes, merong thing what is called eustress. Eustress is the positive type of stress. So, kasi university team, di ba? When we think about stress, the first thing that pops in our head is masama to. It's bad for us. Nakakapagod, nakakangarag. And that is what you call, and if you look at it in the Yerkes-Dodson curve, team, dito yun. And that is what you call, parang hijack ang attention niya. Why? Gising si amygdala. Now, you can be high-performing, pero hindi siya sustainable. As long as mag-increase ang challenge level natin, our performance decreases. And, team, okay, sige, mukhang magaling ang ating learners today. Mukhang dami na. Team, pag hindi natin ma-address ang ating hijack attention, what do you call this part? Sige, who can make a guess? What do you call this part? Kung nasan tong red circle. So kung hindi natin ma-address yung elevated stress natin, we get to this part. Any guesses, learners? I will give you, yes. Okay, ang bilis. Okay, Ses. Okay, tama. It is burnout. So thank you, Isabel. Thank you, Rina. So if we do not address it, then we get to burnout. So if you might be having moments of burnout or hijack attention, then you are in the perfect workshop right now, learners, because look at the biggest part of the curve, team. As long as there's a moderate level of stress, performance increases. So thank you, Angelica, and those who also wrote the name. Welcome, learners, to the world of eustress. What is eustress? Eustress is the stress that we enjoy. Eustress is the stress that allows us to be, it's the challenges we enjoy. It's one that gets absorbed and gets us in the zone. And in fact, team, the right amount of eustress gives us to peak performance. And this is what we call flow, the flow state, or in the zone. So let me describe, team. I'm sure a lot of you have experienced flow in the past 7 days. So what does flow look like? Let's say you start work at 9 a.m. So nandun kayo sa laptop niyan. Tuloy-tuloy lang kayo. And then you notice after a few moments, parang you find your groove. Parang you find your momentum. Tuloy-tuloy lang kayo. So ang ganda ng trabaho mo, you get to answer all your emails, maybe may natapos ka pa na deck for the presentation, and meron ka pa na coach. And then when you look at the clock, team, wow, it's 1 p.m. na. 4 hours have passed. Hindi ka tumayo para mag-bathroom, hindi ka tumayo para uminom ng tubig, hindi ka pa nagutom, and you still have that energy. And that is created through eustress. So I'm curious, team, who among you got into, just type yes, if you got into flow in the past 7 days. And what do you know flow is? Flow is kasi, how do you know you're in flow? You forget your bio needs and nawawala ang concept of time. Ayan, okay. Yes. Mukhang madami na flow sa atin. Alright, sige. Maybe I'll interview someone. Sino? Christian, is this a Christian from 2 weeks ago pa? Tama ba? Si Christian Jason? Tama, di ba?
Hello, yes po, that was me.
Kasi akala ko ang palayo mo is CJ, di ba? So, naman, naalala ko pa,
Apa.
Christian. Okay.
Yeah.
Sige. Christian, tell us about the last time you got into flow.
I think it was 2 days ago. Tapos I got into the peak of my flow, into my productivity nung 12 a.m. and onwards. So medyo late na nga. Ayun po.
Pero how was the energy level like for you?
Matagal siya kasi during bago mag 12 a.m. at that time, very stressed ako, very low energy level for some reason. Sometimes I just don't know kung paano siya na-activate, pero when it got activated, sometimes umabot siya ng 4 hours, 3 hours.
Yes,
So it's quite long. Ayun.
Yeah, and ang daming energy Christian.
Yeah.
And is it safe to say, Christian, na parang when you're in flow, you stop when medyo napapagod ka na? Tama na? Ganun kapag flow?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. Thank you. Salamat, Christian. And thank you for everyone who put yes. Okay, so team, I'll add this. So you can, meron bagong study na lumabas during the pandemic. I'll put it here. This is the formula for flow. Okay? So 52-17. What is 52-17, team? Ang sabi kasi, so the Drogim group, it's a European consultancy group. They wanted to measure ano ba yung perfect time element when we're in flow. So the goal is for the next, if you're going to do deep work, na it requires a lot of thinking, for the first, gawin nyo, for 45 to 52 minutes, do deep concentration, deep working lang. Diba? Deep working kaya, deep work. Afterwards, team, so set an alarm. Once the alarm rings, anytime between 45 to 52 minutes, stop, stand up from your computer, walk away from your computer, and ang yun is you pause deliberately for 10 to 17 minutes. And why do we do this, team? Kasi what we want to create is we want you to keep the momentum of flow. So do not wait until flow maubos sa gas tank yon. So habang nag-jump yung flow, habang parang garado-garada pa kayo, take a break, 10 minutes, that's when you can eat, go to the bathroom, or take a pause, which we'll discuss in a moment. Then when the alarm rings, again, anytime between 10 to 17, go back to deep work between 45 to 52, para when you get back to work, automatic you're in flow. So something to try out, team, the 52-17 formula for flow. Okay, and if you want some details, I'm inviting you, try this out. I tried this during the pandemic. Go to this website, team. It's called caveday.org. So ano yung caveday.org? These are sessions that you can join, open to the public, na meron kang cave guide, and they will put you into flow states. So let's say meron kayong trabaho na you need to get finished, pero you need some concentration. So join Cave Days, para it's one giant study hall, and then you get to be in the flow state. Meron mag-guide sa inyo. So something to try out, team. Tingnan yung caveday.org. Okay, so team, if you look at it, flow, eustress gets us into the state of flow. And let's talk about eustress again, di ba? An increase in stress is an increase in performance or task. And ito yung interesting, team. Kung ang amygdala sa gitna ng brain lights up when we are hijacked or stressed, when we are in eustress, team, this lights up sa noo natin, forehead. This is what you call your PFC, or your prefrontal cortex. It's the part of your brain that lights up when you are relaxed, when you're calm, when you're creative, and when you are thinking. So yun ang difference niya. Again, prefrontal cortex is eustress, amygdala is hijack attention. So stress is moderate, but performance is high. Okay, so I'm curious, team, please type on chat. What activates your eustress? Ano yung mga and then let's limit it to work. Ano yung mga, or school, for those at school. So what are activities at work or at school that activates your eustress? For example, for me, this one, I love doing webinars, especially webinars on mindfulness, team. I'm very much awake, alive, and absorbed because this is eustress for me. And tama ba, Mira, Kat? Anong eustress? Eustress nyo rin ba ang ganito? Ang nag-MC ng mga webinars?
Yes, usually pag nagda-dry run kami for hosting, it really keeps us going. Ayun.
Okay. What's the energy like for you, Mira, pag nag-host ka?
It feels almost exciting, parang mind-boggling kumbaga. Ayun.
Okay, I like that word. Okay, ikaw, Kat, how's it? What is the impact of doing it, mga hosting webinars for you?
Na-energized ako. Nagigising ba ako? Parang ganon.
Yes.
Pag nagpa-practice kami ni Mira nga, tapos na-encourage ako na parang, okay, isa pa, kaya pa natin, isa pa.
Yes, doon mo alam. Tama, thank you, Kat. Doon mo alam na it's eustress, team, kasi parang, oy, kaya ko pa. Parang, bring it on, di ba? Parang ganon, Kat. Di ba? Sige, bigyan mo pa ako, kaya ko yun. Okay, so there's a lot of courage and energy around us. Okay, sige, I'm curious. Sige, Giselle Manigo, let's unmute naman si Giselle. Curious ako, doing the bookkeeping. Hi, Giselle.
Hello.
Yes, Giselle, tell us more about this. Doing bookkeeping puts you into eustress.
I'm a government employee. Tapos may part-time ako doing the bookkeeping virtually. So at night, at night I'm doing the bookkeeping, so mas na-alive ako at night doing my virtual work. Yes, that's it.
And alive, aside from alive, Giselle, how would you describe doing bookkeeping at night ang para naging effect sa'yo?
It helps me to to energize my thinking skills, my analysis.
Okay.
So that's why nagiging yung energy ko is mataas at night.
Yep. Aha, yeah. So parang naka-on yung switch of productivity, ano,
Yes,
Giselle?
yes, that's it. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so that's eustress, Giselle. What you're
Yes.
experiencing is eustress. Okay, thank you. Salamat.
Okay.
Curious si Rina, designing modules. Rina Gubatan, let's unmute her. Hi, Rina. Tell us more, Rina. Anong modules din design? Yes, go ahead.
Well, different modules. No, I'm also a facilitator. Just recently, I designed. There was a request in the office from one of our project teams for virtual team building exercise, but combined with parang mga mindfulness exercise and
Perfect.
yeah, mga relaxation activities. Yeah, so
Correct.
and we were just given a very short notice, no. So but I got excited to doing it, no. So I got down to working on it. So I designed a 2 to 3 hours of activities for a virtual activity with them. And so it really energized me, even if I was restrained by time. No, there was a time constraint kasi I'm very interested into it. I really, that's what I do also, no, giving support to our staff. So that's my eustress.
Okay, perfect. Ganun talaga. Doon malaman, Rina, and for the team na it's eustress kasi even if deadlines are tight, but if it's something that you enjoy doing, you will enjoy the process. And you know, di ba tama, Rina, no? Thank you, salamat. And what's interesting, team, what you'll notice, some people, wait, bookkeeping parang nakaka-hijack yun. Or designing modules parang medyo nakaka-hijack yun. So this is one of the learnings also, team. One person's hijack can be another person's eustress. Because, for example, not all people enjoy doing this, leading or facilitating workshops. Not all people enjoy do public speaking, pero that's my eustress. Pero guess what? Sige, Kat, Mira, what do you think is my hijack ko? Kung gusto ko barate mag public speaking, what do you think stresses me out na parang pinapagawa sa office? Sige, make a guess. It happens every Christmas. Pag pinapagawa to, stress out ako.
Anong guess pa kaya? Hindi magsalita. Ay.
Christmas party. Hindi, okay lang mag-host pero wag niyo ipagawa to sa akin.
Sabi daw nila performing.
Yes, okay. So tama. Okay. So hosting is fine, pero wag niyo ako pasayawin, wag niyo ako pakantahin, di ba? Okay, di ba? Some people enjoy singing, dancing. Ako hindi, na-hijack ako doon. So, pa-host mo na lang ako, pero wag mo ako pakanta at saka wag mo ako pasayaw. Okay? Hindi pwede. Sorry. Thank you. Okay, so yun nakita, di ba? So yun ang maganda ng team. And this is great, especially if you are either corporate or at studying. Find out what is your eustress. And find out, kaya may team report kayo sa school, ano yung mga eustress ng mga kasama mo para it's an easier way for you to delegate work. And especially if you are a team lead, then figure out ano yung mga eustress ng mga team members nyo para it's easier for you to work out and support each other. Kasi yung baka their hijack can be your eustress. Okay. Sige, now if you look at this team, here's the energy framework by Tony Schwartz. And they teach this in Microsoft. So in the energy framework, you have high energy, low energy, negative energy, positive energy. So saan ang hijack attention? When energy is high and energy is negative, yan yung elevated stress, di ba? And kung hindi natin ma-address, then mapupunta tayo sa burnout. Energy is negative, but energy is low. So what we've been talking about is, kaya nga let's reframe stress. Let's look for our moments of eustress, because eustress is where energy is high and energy is positive. So these are the things that make us positive, challenge, absorb, passionate, and engaged. But like what we've been telling you, team, kaya tayo may 52-17 rule Kasi nauubos din siya. Diba? And pag maubos ang eustress, it might lead to hijack. Kasi parang you're operating na on fumes. So that is why we are here now. So for the second half, let's talk about recovery, the recovery zone, wherein energy is positive and energy is low. And how do we look like when you're in the recovery zone, team? Ayan, when we feel relaxed, peaceful, we feel relieved and open. This is also when we feel grateful, calm, rested, and renewed. So what do we do to have moments of recovery? Then let's take what we call a purposeful pause. And what is a purposeful pause, learners? Let's create the moments of space in our head by finding the time to pause. Now, let me show you some benefits of the pause, team. Below, di ba, ito yung itsura ng arteries ng tao ng parati naka-hijack. Makapal siya. Leads to illnesses. Above is the size of an artery of a person who regularly does a purposeful pause as a habit. Manipis siya. Healthy levels. It's the same level of your artery when you feel happy and when you feel brave and courageous. And again, you get to access this on demand, basta you do your regular pauses. And unlike kanina, team, di ba? When the amygdala lights up, we release cortisol. When we do our purposeful pause, team, one of the happy hormones that we release is oxytocin and serotonin. And these are great chemicals that we release naturally using our pauses that are great for moments of loneliness, moments of stress, lacking motivation, not connecting to anyone, and moments of anxiety. So basically, ano yung mga pinag-usapan natin 2 weeks ago, that can be addressed by a purposeful pause. And look at this, team. This is a great image I got from Instagram. So the top rectangle is a person who does not do pauses. On the bottom is someone who does a regular pause. So let's illustrate that. Tingnan niyo sa taas. Ito yung, let's say, nagising kayo sa umaga, tapos nabuhusa kayo ng coffee while you're having your breakfast, and it already destroys your day. Diba? So one setback already destroys your day. Yun na itsura ng person na hindi nagpo-pause. Now look at the person sa baba. Ito yung pwede ka mabuhusan ng coffee, mainis ka slight, do something about it, and then keep going. So the pause helps you recover from any setback. So let's talk about how to design your own purposeful pause, team. And because what we will do is, because some of you might be doing this already, so it's a great validation for you. And some of you, you can start now a habit to be more mindful. Okay, so how do you design your pause, team? Very simple. Choose one routine activity or chore that you do at work or at home. So choose an activity or chore that you do at work, at home, that you do every day. And team, what's going to be different is when you do these routine activities, how do you make it a purposeful pause? Bring your full attention using your 5 senses. And you do this with a magic number. So team, make a guess. How many minutes do you do this activity using all your 5 senses? How many minutes kaya? Can you make a guess? Who wants to? Okay, 5 minutes. Again, make a guess. 5, 17, 3. Okay. Yes, so the winner is Hannah. It's 10 minutes, team. Magic number is 10 minutes. So what I will do, team, is I will show you my purposeful pause for the past 7 years, since 2016. So before this pause, team, before this pause, my pause before that was drinking coffee. Okay, so drinking coffee was my pause. And why was this my pause? Because drinking coffee activates the senses, diba? You smell the coffee, you taste the coffee, you feel the cup, etc., diba? And it takes at least 10 minutes to drink your coffee. So for those na wala pang pause, okay, if you drink coffee every day or tea, okay, baka yun ang pwedeng pause yan. Now, team, I wanted kasi, especially as a mindfulness teacher, I wanted to elevate the experience of pausing. So instead of drinking coffee, which used to be my pause from 2010 to 2016, when I learned mindfulness at 2010, it now became making coffee. So this has been my ritual. Kanina team, ito yung ritual ko kanina umaga. So when I wake up, I go to the kitchen counter, open my bag of beans, smell it. Para yun ang first thing I smell in the morning, coffee. So activating my sense of smell. So what do I do next? I take 2 scoops, para malakas ang coffee ko, I put it in a hand grinder. And if you've had that experience, team, especially those, I'm sure meron people who make coffee here. When you use a hand grinder, you really feel it. Diba? You feel the beans being crushed. Sense of touch. You hear the crunching sound. Sense of hearing. And syempre, nagko-pop pa yung beans, so merong sense of smell. And then you see it kasi yung beans becoming coffee grounds, sense of sight. What happens next? I put the coffee grounds in the ceramic dipper, and then I pour boiling water, so the heat, sense of touch. You hear the boiling sound, sense of hearing. You smell it pa, boiling water and coffee grounds. And then you see it now, the coffee grounds becoming coffee, the drink. And then when does it end? I hold the cup, sense of touch, take a sip, sense of taste, and it's between 12 to 15 minutes. So it meets the minimum of 10 minutes. And how do you know it's a pause, learners? It helps start your day, or if you do it midday, your pause reboots you. If you do not do it, your body feels weird, parang kulang. And if you do not do it, mas madali kayo ma-hijack. So yun ang criteria of that it's a good pause. And so I'm curious, team. In a moment, I'm going to ask you, what is your pause or what could be your pause? So here are some more criteria. It can be any time of the day. It doesn't have to be like me first thing in the morning. Basta a 10-minute window. So some people choose lunchtime, some people choose merienda, some people choose going home from work, or some people choose before going to sleep. So anytime of the day, basta 10-minute window minimum. Okay, so it can be longer than 10 minutes. So 10 minutes is the minimum. It must involve as many senses as possible, but not all the senses. So let me walk through this theme. A lot of people, diba, what is a routine activity or chore that they do every day in 10 minutes? A lot of people choose taking a shower, diba? Because taking a shower is already, diba, sense of touch, the temperature of the water. Sense of smell, yung smell ng soap tsaka shampoo. Tapos you see that, yung sense of sight, makikita mo yung bubbles. And then sense of hearing, you can see that, you can hear the water, or if there's music playing. Pero syempre, hindi naman pwede team yung sense of taste, di ba? So hindi mo naman pwede inumin or tikman yung soap or yung shampoo. So what are we saying here? Only use the senses that are relevant. Huwag niyo naman pilitin, but try to use as many senses as you can. Yeah, perfect. Yan, Donna. Meron ka na. Your matcha time, do it. And make it more purposeful, team. Put all your 5 senses. So Alvin, tama-tama. Pero it matches the example I gave. So ito nga yung homework ko sa inyo, team. For those now, we're going to put a pause later on. Try it. Try doing your pause with more mindfulness and see what is different. And for those na wala pa, it should not involve social media. Because, team, di ba kaya may phone ako, tapos when you do Facebook, pag nagsascroll kayo, doom scrolling, team, is autopilot. So as much as possible, it should not involve social media. Now, let me tell you now, team, may magtatanong kasi dyan mamaya, Dax, paano online shopping? Okay, pwede ba ang online shopping? So my answer is yes. Yes, learners, pwede ang pause mo, di ba? From break from work, sige, punta nga ako Lazada, punta ako ng Shopee, tignan ko nga yung mga bagong gamit, di ba? And then sa sense of sight yun, di ba? And kung na-excite kayo, team, di ba? Getting thrilled is sense of touch kasi you feel it in your body. So okay yun, you're activating your senses. It allows you to reboot for the next 10 minutes. ito lang request namin, team. Please do not proceed to check out. Okay? So for those who want to use online shopping as yes, okay, as a pause, do not proceed to check out. Iwan nyo lang sa cart nyo and just savor the moment. All right? Okay. So I'm curious, team. Please type on chat. For those na, ginagawa ko na pala to, please put what is your pause. And then for those na wala pa, what could be your pause? Ayan. Yes. Okay. So meditating. Correct. Kaya pasok ang meditation dito. Yes. Playing with the dogs. Cleaning the house. So sport. Dito papasok ang sports. Yes. Journaling. Pasok. Doodling. Reading. Okay. Perfect. Wonderful, team. Okay. Yes. Okay. Mukhang, so team, so ito ang gawin natin ngayon. Ito ang homework nyo, team. So you have now your pause, make it more mindful. Diba? Put all your 4 senses. You know, when I do this live, learners, we do chocolate meditation. Okay? Dito namin. So parang so kasi what we want to show here is, kasi eating can be a form of a pause. So what we do is, eating chocolates, and we demonstrate how to use all your senses. Yeah. So yes, pasok lahat dun sa inyo. And people are asking, does it have to be a solo activity? No. Kaya playing with your kids, playing with your pets, pasok lahat yan. So try to make it at least active. Okay? So good. Thank you, team. So yan, so meron na kayo. Yes. Can it be a combination? It can be a combination, Rina. So parang pwede siya kaya, di ba? Let's say drinking coffee while mindfully reading your book. Pwede yun. Ang goal lang natin, team, is basta hindi kayo mag-autopilot. Di ba? Alam mo yun, ginagawa mo yung coffee mo pero iniisip mo yung email mo. So yun natin gusto natin maiwasan. So if you're going to combine stuff, make sure you're combining stuff so that you keep that your focus is turned on. Otherwise, kasi ang goal natin, team, is make sure it doesn't get you distracted. Yes. So great question, team. Thank you for asking that. That was, sino nag-ask nun? I see here, si Rina. Thank you for asking, Rina. Okay. So how do you, now, ang goal natin, team, kasi is, normally, most people, itong autopilot, and ganito na kayo before, I had a tiring day, magpupause nga ako. Na-stress ako today, I'll play with my dogs. Na-stress ako today, na-overwhelm ako, I'll tend to my plants. That's great, team. Now, do your pause when you have a stressful day. But our prescription is do your pause when you have a stressful day, when you have a wonderful day, when you have a boring day, or when you have a neutral day, because we want you to receive the best, because you are training your attention, and we'll tell you how this looks like. Sige, wait, maybe I'll do this one. Nori, what do you mean by doing reels? Are you into post-production? Hi, Nori. I'm curious. Could you, what do you mean by doing reels, Nori? Or kung hindi ka maka-unmute, Nori, just type it on chat para I can answer your question. What doing reels is. Yes, okay. So, ang dyan, team, di ba, is ang goal natin is whatever feelings you are having the day, do your pause, do it every day. And also, have a plan B. Ito yun, di ba? So, for example, team, let's say, kasi I have mindfulness workshops in Baguio, in Cebu, in Davao. Does that mean kung hindi ko dala yung gamit ko for coffee, hindi ako magpo-pause? No. Kailangan pa rin ako pause. So what is my plan B? My plan B is walking. So walking from usually my hotel room to my function room, I walk slowly, but it takes me 10 minutes so that when I start my workshop, I already have my pause. Okay, Instagram. Okay. Sige. as long as, okay. Wala akong enough information. Wala akong enough information about this. However, ito lang rule of thumb natin. If it gets you into flow, team. Kasi yun ang goal natin eh. If it gets you into moments of flow, if it gets you into eustress and it doesn't hijack you, then it could be. Yan ang parang rule of thumb natin. If wala kayong maisip, slow down any activity to 10 minutes. And then, just in case, team, na sometimes autopilot kayo eh. And autopilot is a sign of boredom. And you might, while you're playing with your dog or your kids, you might start thinking of your email or a call you need to make. If you go through autopilot, that's a type of disconnected attention. Just mindfully return back to your activity to train your attention. Because these are the benefits, team. The benefits of doing your pause, minimum 10 minutes a day. You get out of autopilot because you are experiencing something new from your routine activity or chore. You get to stop the breakdown of your attention because you are allowing the amygdala, you're controlling the amygdala, you're managing it. And how do you know that your meditation or your pause is working, learners? When instead of fight, flight, or freeze, your new autopilot is what we call an acronym, SBNRR. And what is SBNRR, team? So this is an acronym from Chade Meng Tan, search inside yourself of Google. So if you feel the hijack coming in, diba? Then you stop, take a breath, and if you remember, for those who were with us since day one, breathe at least 3 times. And as you breathe, notice what is going on in your body. Uy, parang kinakabahan ako. Parang umiinit yung tenga ko. Parang sinisikmura ako. Diba? Notice what is going on and start reflecting na what is the best way to respond. And there's this great quote, team, by Dr. Kelly McGonigal. Watch her TED Talk. It's called Make Stress Your Friend. The moment that you notice your body getting angry, you are getting out of anger. And that is why, team, it's okay to notice these feelings because you're now going to use these bodily reactions as a signal for you to take a pause. Diba? So use that now. Na parang, uy, wibe sa heart rate ko? How do you know? Then I will do my SBNRR. Yun yung new autopilot niya. And maybe here's the best way to explain this, team. Na? Why do I encourage you to do a pause? Because of this. This is the power of a purposeful pause. So 3 things. The spinal cord that receives the message of your trigger, the amygdala that lights up when we are hijacked, and again, the prefrontal cortex, where eustress is. Now, what is our autopilot ba, learners? Diba? Let's say we get overwhelmed by work. Ano una nangyari? Autopilot natin is amygdala, we fight, flight, or freeze. And I'm sure you've experienced this, team, di ba? Pag medyo mainit ang ulo natin, wag mo muna ako usapin, hindi pa ako ready. And bakit tayo hindi ready? Because ang lakas pa ni amygdala. Kasi when we are in amygdala, we're very reactive. We might say something that we regret. Okay, you notice you say them, okay, medyo I'm cool na, you can talk to me na. And why does it happen, team? People can talk to you because you're cool na, because your brain is in the prefrontal cortex. Now, what's interesting, team, is this. Pag gising si amygdala, tulog si prefrontal cortex. Kaya we become emotional, not logical. And pag gising si prefrontal cortex, tulog si amygdala. So it's mutually exclusive. So again, ang autopilot natin is trigger, amygdala, prefrontal cortex. The great thing to win back your attention through a purposeful pause, team, is the more you do your pauses every day for at least 10 minutes, you are training your brain to jump, if you follow my cursor, to jump or skip the amygdala so that you can respond instead of react. So what's the difference, learners? React is amygdala. React is fight, flight, or freeze. React is cortisol. While response is prefrontal cortex, response is eustress, response is also serotonin and oxytocin. So the more you care, it's essential that you do your pause 10 minutes a day, team. Because you will notice, how do you know it's working? If you are responding more than reacting, then it's working. So I'm curious, team. Is 10 minutes doable? Could you type yes or no? Is 10 minutes a day doable? Pa-type naman siya sa chat. Kaya 10 minutes a day? Okay, yun. So team, 10 minutes a day is just 0.7% of your 24-hour day. And guess what, team? Maybe since mukhang magaling tayo today, what do you think is another word for what do you think is another word for purposeful pause, team? Make a guess. What do you think is the layman's term for purposeful pause? Okay, rest, intentional pause. Okay, yes. Okay, these are great guesses. Ano pa, team? I'm looking for that. Pahinga, response, mindfulness. Okay. Any other? I'll give you 10 more seconds. Distress, pause. Okay. Reflect, relax. Okay, I'll give it to you now, team. So what is the layman's term for a purposeful pause? Let me type it now on chat. It is mindful me time. And the minimum me time, learners, that you can give to yourself is 10 minutes once a day. So if you have more than once a day na 10 minutes, take it. If you have more than 10 minutes, take it also, team. Because di nyo pa malaman. So ngayon, makikita nyo, team, yung mga techniques natin last week at saka 2 weeks ago, the more you do your pauses, it will be easy for you to do 3 breaths. It will be easy for you to do just like me, pronoun shifting, temporal distancing, if you keep on doing your pauses. Okay, how many pauses ideal? As many, Rina. As long as also, team, wag naman too much na it gets in the way of your productivity. Okay, so you have to check the impact. Make sure na hindi too much na, sa sobrang mo hindi mo na nagawa yung deadlines mo. So it's up to you. So kayo ang maghanap ng sweet spot nyo. Ako personally, okay, here's my pause, team. I do it twice in the morning. So when I wake up, I meditate for 20 minutes. Afterwards, I do my coffee for 15 minutes. So parang 35 minutes ako minimum every day, every morning. And guess what I do, team? After I do my pauses. Make a guess. What do you think I do after I meditate and drink my coffee? Anyone would like to guess? What do you think is my next activity after I meditate and drink coffee? Okay. Okay. So team, guess what? I'll type it. I'll type it on chat. I'll type it on chat now. Okay, so team, what do I do after I meditate and I drink my coffee? That's the only time I check my phone for messages. So learners, checking my phone for messages is not the first thing I do in the morning. Why? Because baka mamaya, I see something na ma-hijack ako. So why do I do my pauses before I check my phone? So that just in case I see a message that might upset me, I will still feel the impact, pero alam mo, I can handle it. So yun ang aking ritual. 35 minutes, first thing in the morning. Okay. Siguro, someone asked, can you post this? Oh, wait, let me answer that question na. I saw it here. Okay. You can share this, Geraldine, but not the images. Yun na lang. You can type it na what a pause is, respond, react, But do not post any images na lang on the chat box. Yeah, on your FB. Ganun na lang. So, okay sa akin yan. Spread the word. Okay, sige. So, and I'm being mindful. Alam ko, meron ako mga pulis dito, si Mira at saka si Kat, na I have to sign off in a few seconds. Tama-tama, meron akong timer team. So, I will wait 10 seconds. In 10 seconds, Mira, ibigay ko sa yung at saka Kat. Okay, 3, 2, yan. So, it's 4:05 na. Back to you, Mira and Kat.
Yan. Thank you so much, Sir Dax.
Bilis naman po ng pangyayari. Ayan, thank you po ulit for the learnings. Super dami po naming natutuhan from this session. So we can now proceed to our pigeonhole. Ayan. For our Q&A. So you may scan the QR code on your screens or click on the link that our tech support will provide in the chat box. So while waiting for the questions to come, ayan, feel ko appropriate naman na mag-share ng sariling insights. It's been a very fruitful webinar po talaga, Sir Dax. And ayun nga, nung nag-notes kami rito, yung pinaka-tumatak din sa akin is yung pag-sustain sa pause. Because for me personally, although nakakapag-pause ako, parang hindi siya intentional. It's been never parang purposeful in a way that ginagawa ko siya for a reason. Ayan, that's for me. How about you, Kat?
Ayan, thanks Mira. Ako, na-appreciate ko talaga tong session na to. Kasi nga, sabi ko nga, this year, as a second half na tayo ng year, right? Tapos ang daming pangyayari for me personally. And feel ko kasi as a mode ako ng hustle, parang ganon. Like, eto sa internship natin, di ba, ang dami natin ginawa. Pero it's really important na ang dami din natin, it's important na we take time for ourselves and reflect talaga. So, yan. Thank you so much, Sir Dax.
Yes,
Ayan.
you're welcome.
Meron na po tayong isang question. Alright. Mira, you can share the screen.
Ayan. So they ask, would you recommend using the Pomodoro technique in practicing mindful pauses?
Okay. Okay, great question, team. Okay, I love this. Remember yung formula natin, team, yung 50-7 team? Okay, so di ba they were measuring productivity. Now, notice, bakit siya 50 or 52? It's equivalent to 2 Pomodoros. Now, let me first, for those na might not be familiar, what is the Pomodoro technique? Ang Pomodoro technique kasi, team, is you have a timer and then you set it for 25 minutes. There's an app for this. And then you do deep work for 25 minutes. When the timer rings, you rest for 5 minutes. Tapos, pag mag-ring ulit, go back to 25 minutes. All right, so that's the Pomodoro technique. And it works for people. So if it works for you, do it. However, team, tama, thank you, Harold, the 25-5-25. However, ang nangyari kasi, team, nung mineasure ngayon ng productivity ng Drogin Group, ang daming tao na nabibitin sa 25 minutes. Why? Because, team, it's been shown na usually for us to get into flow, let me type it on chat, it's 23 minutes. Diba? So let's say medyo ang bagal mo ng work. And usually for most people, they find their momentum on the 23rd minute. So what happens? Kung magbe-break ka na in 2 minutes, sayang yung momentum mo. So they notice some people who do a Pomodoro technique, hindi nila pinapansin yung first bell. They continue for another 25 minutes. So yun ang yun ang idea behind that. It's like you're doing double Pomodoros kasi sayang yung flow mo na it's 23 minutes na. So, pwede siya as a mindful pause or team. If you look at it nga, di ba? You can do 50 minutes deep work, tapos do your purposeful pause in between. And then you go back to your deep work on the Pomodoro technique. Or another way is, yes, you do your mindful pause for 25 minutes, tapos you go back to work or you go back to your schoolwork. So it can be both. Yeah.
Yes, ayan. Share ko lang din na personally, nagamit ko na rin yung Pomodoro technique before, but parang hindi rin nagana sa akin kasi just as I get my focus, biglang magre-ring yung alarm ko tapos break na raw. Ay, ang bilis
Ang
pala.
bilis,
Yes.
yes. No, it
So,
makes sense, Mira, kasi 23 minutes bago mo ko. So, parang sayang yung 2 minutes, di ba?
yes. So, parang dun ko na-realize na need talaga natin mag-adjust on what could work for us. Ayan.
Yes. Yeah, in fact, thank you, Mira. That's a rule of thumb, team. What's the best pause? Whatever pause works for you. Yun. Whatever pause works for you, if it gets you into the zone, if it allows you to do SBNRR, if it allows you to respond instead of react, then that's your pause. Yeah.
Maybe we have the next questions.
Yeah, let's look at the questions.
Ayan, wait. We're experiencing a bit of technical difficulties.
Yeah, okay lang. Okay
Oh.
lang. And for some, if you want, you can also put it on chat, just in case. Kasi meron tayong nasagot na naman ng tanong na lumabas sa chat kanina.
Yes, ayan, we just have a question coming in from an anonymous sender. Ang tanong nila is prayer a type of pause?
Yes, it is. So, kasi prayer, team, is a form of meditation. So yes, ang ano lang natin is catch your autopilot moments. Kasi diba, let's say, if you say the rosary, diba? Sometimes you might just say it automatically na your mind might be elsewhere. So, ang prescription dyan, team, is notice when you get distracted and go back to your prayer again. And you can make it more mindful, diba? So for example, for those who read a passage in scripture, diba? Notice, uy, parang medyo this passage makes me feel good. Yun. So checking in how you feel good, that's actually a sense of touch, team, because it creates parang awareness of your body. So, or for example, how do the pages feel as you read it? How what's the feel of the book? So you in there, you can play with it. May sound ba when you move to the next page? May smell ba yung libro? So you can, so what your regular prayer is working, then you can add more senses pa into it.
And thank you for answering. And meron po ulit na nagtanong, ayan, I find myself procrastinating a lot. So will this practice be able to help me gain my focus back?
Okay. So team, for the person who asked that, ganito gawin natin. Kasi it might be, for some, baka lang 10 minutes might be too much. So what is also our recommendation as a meditation teacher, start very low. Start, kaya if you want, 2 minutes a day lang muna, team. 2 minutes. 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Tapos madali na, 3 minutes. For some, kasi one way kasi to address procrastination learners is to achieve little wins. So the more you achieve little wins, it will give you that energy. It will give you that dopamine fix to do more stuff. So yun, make it easy for you. And that will also make the process easy for you until 10 minutes becomes your minimum para you can get to achieve stuff. And notice, it might get you out of procrastination. In fact, team, ako meron akong rule, if I can do it in 5 minutes or less, I will do it now. Para matapos na. Meron akong ganun So at least, kung matatapos na naman siya in a length of a song, parang ganun, then I will do it now. Yes, the answer is yes, team, because, so if you want, this could be your pause. This is excellent. So team, it's been shown, diba, nature really gets us into relaxation, but just by watching nature images on YouTube or listening to nature sounds on Spotify already is a great pause for us. So do that for 10 minutes. Yes, that could be your pause. Yes, okay. So, ayan, merong feedback. Good job daw yung yung certificates. Okay.
Ayan po yung
Okay.
next question.
Wait, team. Okay. Minsan mahirap mag-pause pag galit na galit ka, okay? So allow the amygdala to quiet down muna, team. Allow the amygdala to quiet down. Let that part, kasi that is also part of the self-care. Kasi you might, baka lang it can work naman, but baka masanay tayo na we do our pauses only in moments of anger. So allow muna the emotion to calm down, diba? To settle, and then do your pause. Yun na, para at least mas ma-feel nyo yung pause talaga. Kasi remember, team, di ba? When we're hijacked, kasi hindi tayo nag-iisip. But once, because we're too emotional, tulog si prefrontal cortex. But once it cools down, now you can appreciate the moment as you do your pauses. Yes.
Maybe we can have the next question na po. Ayan. I used to love doing meditation too every morning. Unfortunately, I stopped. I'm trying to get back into it, but it's not the same as before. How can I get back into it?
Yeah, so same thing, team. For the person who asked this, start low. Ito ano ka, team. If you have Netflix, I'll type it. I'll type it on chat. If you have Netflix, try this out. So if you're using Netflix for your hobbies, as a K-drama or series, use Netflix also for your pauses, team. Merong Headspace Guide to Meditation. The beauty of this is you have a choice. 3 minutes, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes. So for the person who asked this, 3 minutes muna. Make 3 minutes easy. Tapos then move to 5, then move to 10. And ang kagandahan pa nito, team, is if you have trouble closing your eyes, kasi ang daming thoughts when you meditate, you can watch it with your eyes open because the images are very relaxing, and then you can hear the voice of the narrator. So yeah, so start small. And team, meron pa, in case ito yung other option, if you meditate, the magic number is it's been measured, team. If you're going to meditate and hindi siya everyday 10 minutes, then this is the minimum prescription. 12 minutes, 5 times a week. So it doesn't have to be every day, pero 12 minutes minimum. Yeah, okay.
Yes, maybe we can go to the next question. Ayan. Hello, Sir Dax. What can you suggest classroom activities to do? Pauses. What can you suggest classroom activity pauses to do for students and when to do it? In just 5 minutes since class hours is limited.
Okay, the best talaga is either before the class starts or after the class. Or okay, so let's say ang class mo is 1 p.m., di ba? 1 to 2. Start your class at 1:05. So parang first 5 minutes at pause kayo. Or start at 1 pero end at 1:55. Now, why do we do that? I'm sure this is a fellow teacher. So that, kasi hindi tayo sure kung saan galing yung students natin. They might be coming from a class na baka medyo na-stress sila. So at least the 5 minutes allows them to arrive so that they can be fully present with you when you start at 1:05. Or if you end at 1:55, you're giving them naman parang a time to pause before their next activity. So it can be the first 5 minutes or the last 5 minutes. Now, what can it be? Let's try that. Spotify, nature sounds, 5 minutes. No phones, just be still in your table. No phones. You can do it with your eyes open or your eyes closed. That could be it. Let's try something simple like that.
Ayan. I guess we still have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions pa. Ayan. Next question, please. Ayan. I'm a bit curious about my mindfulness pause practice. I'm fine with silent meditation, but once I get distracted, like hearing loud noises or music, I lose track of my meditation, like nothing happened.
Yes, okay. So that's normal. Normal, diba? There will be days na parang, uy, chill, hindi magulo ng surroundings. And there will be days that, medyo baka magulo tayo ng noise sa atin or music. So, the recommendation is, just come in with no expectations. Allow yourself to get distracted by the noise and just try to get back to the meditation. Yun naman talaga. Just try to go back. Because distraction is normal.
Ayan. For our last question, ayan, any recommendation of technique for those who work in the government agencies, especially those who deal with clients every day?
Okay. Sige. Maybe I'll repeat lang yung ginawa natin yung 3 breaths team. So, if, for example, you are with a client, tas medyo difficult siya, mapapareact ka na, di ba? Do your 3 breaths, di ba? And di ba, what did we talk about in first day? At least 1 second to inhale, 1 second to exhale, breathing through the nose. And why nose breathing, team? Because if you breathe through the nose, diretso yung breath mo, yung air oxygen to your prefrontal cortex. Kasi notice, team, pagka galit tayo, nagkapanik tayo, we breathe through the mouth. If you breathe through the mouth, diretso siya sa amygdala. So nose breathing, 3 breaths, 1 second to inhale, 1 second to exhale. So minimum of 6 seconds. And again, bakit 6 seconds? Because the amygdala is strongest in the first 6 seconds. So if we get triggered by a client, and we choose to do something or say something in 6 seconds or less, most likely you will say or do something that you will be regretting because you are reacting. The amygdala is turned on. So ang pinaka-quick practice dyan is, what do? Just keep on breathing. Diba? Just keep on breathing and just allow the amygdala to settle down. And kung kulang yung 3 breaths, do another 3 breaths kasi, and eventually yun yung SBNRR team. Kaya makita niyo, the more you do your pauses, the more the 3 breaths will become easy for you.
Ayan. Thank you so much for your time, Dax. Do you have any parting words to share with us?
Ako talaga, well, first of all, Kat, Mira, and sa Positive Workplaces, thank you for inviting me for this session for the entire July. For our learners, thank you for coming to the sessions. Thank you for taking your time to do some learning. So my goal is make it easy for you. Start very slow. Do not make it easy. Enjoy the moment and don't pressure yourself too much. Di ba? Parang ganun. Basta if you notice it's working, then keep on going. Pero yun, take it one day at a time na talaga. So make it very doable for you.
Ayan. Thank you for today's session. Actually, not only for today's session, but for the entire July. And for that, we would like to present you with this certificate of appreciation. Ayan. This certificate is issued to Dax Covarrubias for generously providing their time and expertise as a resource speaker for the webinar series, Harnessing the Power of Attention, Unlocking Peak Performance in the Workplace, held on the 12th, 19th, and 26th of July 2023. Signed by John Baluyot, our Chief Enabling Officer, and Nikki Vergara, our Chief Wellbeing Officer.
Ayan. Thank you so much, Sir Dax, for
Thank
today's
you.
insightful session and for being with us nga for this whole month of July. This month's series really helped us to take a breather and really put ourselves first naman. And we hope that you guys learned as much as we did. And yes naman, if you enjoyed this month's webinar series and would like to stay updated with our current projects, ano ang dapat nilang gawin, bestie ko?
Siyempre, dapat mag-follow na ang mga beshi natin na yan. So if you are liking our content that we are posting, do give us a follow on Facebook. Dito po kami active and dito po namin ina-announce ang aming mga projects.
And speaking of projects, we are having our very first face-to-face Positive Communication course. And there's only 7 days left to enroll. So if you are interested, we are sending the link now in the chat. Ayan. Let's take advantage po of the early bird discount. And this event will be held at the Discovery Suites Ortigas Center from September 7 to September 9, 2023. And our mentors po for this course are none other than our co-founders, John Baluyot, who is a Gallup Strengths coach, and Nikki Vergara, a Strengths Profile accredited practitioner. So, enroll na po tayo.
Yes, magpapabudol na po yan. And with that, we are now sending the link to the evaluation form. Again, kindly double-check everything before submitting the form since e-certificates are automatically generated. Kindly click on the link now para in case mag-end na po ang meeting, may copy na po kayo ng form. And it is now 4:25 and we will be closing the form in 30 minutes.
Ayan. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon and the rest of the July webinar series po. Thank you so much.
Maraming salamat po.
Sana po piliin nyo ang mga sarili nyo this time.
Ayan, reminder lang po, yung acronym na 10. Bestie, ano ang 10?
Title, bakit?
OUE.
Email.
N.
Next, Charis, name po. Double check po natin because your e-certificates will not be reissued. So, yan.
So true po.
Yes, and don't forget to submit. Siyempre po, after nyo i-type, sasubmit nyo yan.
Tama, pindutin niyo po yan.
Yes. Click nyo po yung link now para pag na-end po yung meeting, at least meron na po kayong copy.
Ayan, we are sending the link for the evaluation forms for the very last time. But don't worry since the form will be up for 30 minutes.
Yes. All right, and we will be closing the room now. Again, we hope you guys enjoyed and learned a lot from this month's series. We are super grateful that you guys tuned in with us for the whole month of July. Again, we're your Gen Z besties na may chikang mainit every minute. Bye! Thank you so much!